So I just thought I'd do a video about how I learn music theory. So what I've realised is when you study a piece, it has a tempo. So a tempo means how many beats per minute. So it could mean as well, like you might have it in a 4/4 signature or a 3/4 or even a out of six beats. You might be counting like a waltz beat, but it's like faster when it's out of six and eighths and so on. So again, you have to look at that. Then you have to look at the key signature, because you'll find that there'll be some pieces where they have a lot of like flats in the key signature, which can affect the note you're playing, because instead of playing like B, you'd have to play B flat. Instead of playing A, you'd have to play A flat, and so on. So you have to look at how many flats there are, and then there's like major keys, so you have to look how many sharps there are. Then as well you have to look at if there's any chords, and chords are really helpful because sometimes you can study them and know that how to place your fingers. So if it's like in three chords, a triad chord, it would basically mean like pressing 3 keys at the same time. Sometimes you even get 5, so you have to press 5 keys at the same time, and so on. It's especially crucial to check the rhythm of the piece. If a piece says you have to play it a lot faster, you need to really do that, because some pieces just don't sound right if they're played too slow or too fast. But when you're practicing, it is best to practice slow. Also, it's good to look ahead, because there are things like repeat marks. It might be that you have to play the same bars again, and also you might get a sign, a note saying DSL coda. So that basically means you go to the piece and then it'll say DSL code, so you have to go back to the beginning again wherever it's noting. It's usually with like an open minim mark and an S sign, and then you have to make sure you play it again, but then you'll go, when it says coda, you have to go straight to the coda. So again, it's looking at that. It's good to basically look ahead at the piece. So for those that are clever, that can just like turn up to a gig and just sight read a piece of music they've never seen before, kudos to them, because that's something that I think it would take years to master, unless you're really good at memorizing the song. And you see these videos going on the internet where they're like, oh, I'm just learning a song to $100 gig or whatever it is, and they've only like practiced it that day. So yeah, I'm one of those. I really like to practice loads because I'm still learning, and I think it would take many years to be able to just like memorize. But sometimes some musicians are perfect and they can just memorize and they don't need to like rely on the sheet music, and it's because maybe they've never had to study music theory. Because I found when I went through the classical exams for piano and violin, I had to like study not only music theory but how to play the piece. But I'd find that when I got to the exam room, it was almost like you had to memorize the scales, because if you try and look at the notes on the scale, it's going to slow you down. So I would say practice your scales, your major scales, your minor scales, your chromatics, because it really helps when it comes to using that to apply to the pieces that you play. But yes, there's so much, like I could do like loads of other videos, but I think until I show you visually what it's like. But I find that some pieces, they have like certain, I say, systems and patterns. Like I've noticed well when I was looking at Billy Joel's music, it seemed to have a lot of like left hand bass notes, very fast, almost octave notes that he plays, and he seems to play them in a pattern, and then you have like a melody on the right. And then I've noticed like some other pieces, they have a lot of like melody, and the melody is like the soprano for the music, and then the bass is like the tenor, so that's like the deeper notes. But again, I could just waffle on about that. But if you find this interesting, I could maybe do more, like actually show some sheet music that I've made, and then how I practice that, But again, what's good when you look at scales, they start on one note and then they seem to go upwards, and it goes like, it's a bit like the alphabet, so it'll go C, D, E, F, G, and then you know, like the second finger's going to be D, the third finger's going to be E, and so on. But of course you haven't got like 10 fingers on one hand, so you have to learn to like turn your hand so you can do like the next octave and so on, and that comes with practice. But yes, I thought I'd just say that. Thank you, bye.